You're probably thinking this watch looks a little bit familiar. This is the Berny T2566MS. For about £50 or 75 US dollars, you are getting a 37mm titanium case. That is 45mm lug to lug. You've got 20mm lugs. It weighs about 40 grams and it is about 9mm thick. We've also got a sapphire crystal with AR coating on it, 50 meters of water resistance, a 10-year battery life, and it's got the VH31 movement in it too. That's a lot of spec for a little price. Now, you've probably seen this design before, so this is very much an homage to the Seiko SNK809. I mean, it is almost identical. Admittedly, that is an automatic watch, and this is a quartz watch, but they are very, very similar. I'm really unsure as to whether to categorize this as a field watch or a Type B Flieger. In terms of the spec, it feels like a field watch. It's just the design of the dial is sort of very much a Type B Flieger. Call it what you will. I don't really care whether you consider this a field watch or a Flieger. It is what it is, really. When I bought this watch, it was available on a titanium bracelet, but I opted for this two-piece strap. Titanium cases tend to have this quite dull finish, and I just felt that would be OTT across a whole strap, certainly not to my taste anyway. And so it came on this two-piece strap, which I don't really like this strap anyway, not in terms of the quality, but I just don't like the way it looks on the watch. I'll show you some more straps later on, however. The case design is sort of standard, but it feels quite nice. The lugs are quite a nice shape. It's very slim. The titanium finish is quite dull. I am a little bit worried that will get marked quite easily. I do have a couple of marks on my case here, very small, but they are there, and I don't wear this a lot, so I suspect it marks quite easily. But I really like the case shape. I just feel it's very minimalistic and it looks really good too. We've got a tiny crown at the 4 position, and it is very, very small. It's very fiddly, actually, when you need to update this watch. I haven't got the fattest fingers in the world, but I do struggle with this one a little bit. Fortunately, you only really ever need to change it twice a year, so it's not too bad. The dial, I think, is quite an attractive dial. We've got the minutes on the outer ring and the hours on the inner ring. It's quite a tidy looking dial. I really like the style of it. I like the handset too. In particular, I like this red tip on the second hand. I think that just adds just a tiny splash of colour, which just gives it something else. Quite like the counterbalance on the second hand. Generally, I like this design quite a lot. There is a version 1 of this Berny which actually says the name Berny, and it has a date window here too. This is the version 2 which doesn't have either of these things. You can buy this without Berny's logo here, but I don't mind this little logo here. I perhaps wouldn't want Berny written on my watch. I suspect a lot of people would be with me on that too. The numbers, while quite small, are very sharp and quite easy to read, so no issues there. I am a little bit worried about this titanium case back. We've got a snap-on case back here, and because this is titanium, I feel like this is going to get marked up really badly when a battery change is needed. Fortunately, it's supposed to be a 10-year battery, so that's not going to be too often. While the lume isn't great on this watch, when it actually is working, I really like the colours and the amount of lume that is on it. It looks really good. Sadly, it just doesn't last long enough. You can see that on this time lapse here. This seems to be the case with all budget watches now. Lume seems to be the one area that they are quite prepared to skimp on. On the wrist, we've got quite a tidy looking watch. Obviously, it's quite small, but fits pretty well on my 6.75 inch wrist. Very slim profile, so no issues there. What I will say is this strap, and I very rarely wear this watch on this strap, I haven't got the slimmest wrists in the world, and there's not an awful lot of notches for me to go into, so you may just need to be aware of that if you've got very slim wrists and you're thinking about buying this watch. In fact, there are only 2 more positions, so if your wrist is significantly smaller than mine, if you have a 6-inch wrist, for instance, probably not going to fit on this strap. Now, I typically don't wear it on this black strap. There's a couple of straps that I will show you that I tend to wear it on instead. I either wear it on this green, sort of military green NATO, or I have this 2-piece leather strap. Both of these are from AliExpress. It's a little bit of a vintage style strap, and it works really nicely on that. I'll show you this on both those straps now so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So here it is on the leather strap, which I think it looks great on. I think the combination of the black and the sort of tan color leather looks really good. I think it looks way better than on the nylon black strap that has been supplied. And here it is on the green NATO, which again, I think is a very good combination, really good color combination for this one, and just makes it feel a little bit, I don't know, it feels a little bit better. Obviously, the hardware on the strap doesn't match the titanium, but I don't worry too much about that. In terms of this black two-piece strap that the watch comes on, if you buy it on this, it's quite a chunky, well-produced nylon two-piece strap. We have titanium hardware on it, so it matches the case, which is a nice touch. I can't actually fault this strap. It feels good quality. It certainly is quite tough. I just don't like the look of this black watch on the black strap. Some people will like it. I just like to add a little bit of something else because it's quite an understated watch. Final thoughts on this Berny. For the money, for £50 or $75 US, this is a very well-spec'd watch. You are getting an awful lot for your money. That represents great value. I don't necessarily think it's the greatest of materials, but you are still getting a lot of bang for your buck. The only areas where I can really fault this watch are the fact that I believe this titanium marks quite easily. I'm a little bit worried about that. The very small and fiddly crown, but again, that is only needed a couple of times a year because it's quite an accurate watch. And also the lume. I just expect field watches to do a better job with the lume. I'd happily pay a little bit more for better lume. I don't know why this can't be done, but it's another underperformer in the lume stakes, unfortunately. But if you can get past those issues, I think this certainly represents better value than the Seiko SNK809, while looking the same and with the mecha quartz movement feeling the same too.